Hey dudes, how's it going, peeps? Welcome back to Duty's Daggers. We are doing a collection video today, so I'm going to be showing you every single knife that I own. It's going to take a little while, but we're going to do it. I had a couple people ask me to do a collection update video because I have actually acquired a pretty good number of knives since the last time I did one of these, so we're going to go through every knife. But first of all, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do it. This is a really good channel, probably the best knife review channel out there. So, but yeah, just subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, also, duties_daggers. So, I'm not going to be able to lay out every knife here on the table. I'll put a couple out, I'll fill up the screen here as we go, but, there are going to be a few that I show you and then put off camera, just because they're not all going to fit. So, and these are in no particular order either. I'm just grabbing them off the rack here to my right or in my Pelican case deal. No particular order. So, let's get started. Let's start with this little guy. This is the Spyderco Roadie. A tiny little slip joint from Spyderco. Kind of a funky design. It was the design was made for it was made to be compatible with some TSA guidelines and parameters that they had put forth when they were thinking about letting knives back on planes. So Spyderco made this knife to fit those guidelines, and then TSA changed their mind and said, never mind, no knives, but Spyderco released this knife anyways. It's pretty cool. There's little dimples on here, so you grab it and pull it out. There's a nice little snap when you open it. The walk and talk is not super stiff, but it doesn't bother me too much. Sheep's foot style blade with a little hump back. And there's a forward finger choil, which is really interesting for a slip joint. Cool thing about that is it can't close on you because your finger's in the way. N690 blade steel. This is just a cool little knife to slip in your fifth pocket or wherever. The Spyderco Roadie. Alright, next, a Rough Rider, the Rough Rider work knife. This is probably my favorite Rough Rider. We have blue and black layered micarta handles, and this blade is just really, really nice. Just super versatile. Almost like a sway back design, so it kind of fits in your palm really easily, like this. The action, walk and talk, super nice and poppy and stiff. This is a cheap knife, under 30 bucks, and this is a really good knife for the money. The Rough Rider work knife. How about an auto? This is the Microtech Ultratech, kind of a funky one because the frame here, the chassis, is from a signature series with Marfione Customs. So it's the same size and everything as a regular Ultratech, but it has a little bit of a different clip. It has a signature there. So pretty cool. But the blade on it is from their Bounty Hunter series, one of their Star Wars themed knives. Tonto blade shape. I think this thing looks mean, man. It just looks so good. It's not the best slicer though. I carried this at work a few times and I was trying to cut cardboard. It just doesn't really glide through material that well. But nevertheless, it'll get your cutting tasks done fairly easily. And it's a Microtech. Fires hard. The button is a little bit rattly, as they all are, at least in my experience, but badass knife nonetheless. Microtech Ultratech. Alright, how about a Tucson? This is the Tucson TS300, a gift from my buddy Diener. This is a titanium frame lock, all titanium. Nice milled pocket clip, big old pivot and pivot collar there. Aggressive Tonto blade shape. We got a hollow grind here and a flat up here. This knife is really useful to carry. I was carrying it at work for quite a while, and I still do. You basically have two usable tips here. You can use this tip for your kind of more utility draw cuts. You can use this tip for your piercing kind of stuff. And the action on this thing is incredible. I replaced the bearings with skiff bearings, and oh boy. Oh, so smooth. Rock solid lockup. Choke up spot, kind of a unique futuristic sort of angular design. I really like how the contouring is on the titanium handles. There's just three different kind of planes here, and just the way the light plays with those different surfaces is really nice. The Tucson TS300. Alright, let's talk about, how about this one? The Kaiser Mini Bag Lighter. This is a really fun little knife. I've never owned a large size bag lighter, but the Mini is the only one that has this reverse tanto blade shape, which is why I bought the knife. I really love this blade shape for the types of cutting that I do. It's super thin at the edge, really nice point. The micarta is very good quality, deep carry pocket clip. And let me tell you, the action on this guy, really, really nice. Super duper snappy detent. This thing just pops out so nicely. The closing action is so smooth for such a light blade. This is a really cool little knife to stick in your pocket for kind of light to medium duty uses. You can get a full grip on it though. I like to hold it like this for draw cuts and opening up packages. N690 for the blade steel, the Kaiser Mini Bag Lighter. Alright, how about a Savivi? This is the Savivi Lumi, a Justin Lundquist design. Deep carry pocket clip, but I have the titanium one on here. G10, and it's a top flipper. There's no blade showing when it's closed. It's all inside the handle, which I like. This is a really nice, sleek, little, small carry. And the way you pop this blade out is just addictive. It's so much fun. I like opening it like this, or you can do it like this. It's just so easy to do. You stick your thumb on the top here on that jimping, and you don't even have to push that hard. You just roll it back, and that blade just flies out. Love it. Very kind of aggressive point on this blade. It's hollow ground, very thin at the edge, thin blade stock. This is slicey, it's piercy, it's cutty. It's a good knife, and really fun to kind of fidget around with. The Savivi Lumi. Let's check out another little guy, the Savivi Baby Banter. This is kind of the cool version in the white ivory G10 and red blade. This is probably one of the better small knives that feel like a big knife that I've handled. It's a tiny blade, but you get a full grip on this thing with the choke up spot. I don't see why you would hold it back here. I don't think anyone would or does. This is how you hold the knife in the choked up spot. I mean, you can get a ton of pressure into that edge because your thumb can go all the way to the end here if you need to. This is a really cool little knife. It looks really cool with the black, white, and red. The red hardware everywhere. This thing is fun to reverse flick too. The detent's a little light. I wish it was a little snappier, but it's okay. Very cool design. Ben Peterson design. There's also a regular size Banter and now an XL Banter, if this is too small for you. One interesting thing I want to point out that I really like about the knife, just really an intuitive design element here. The cutout for the lock bar access, how they did it was they basically just slowly kind of cut this out, starting at 0 back here and then cutting it in. So there's not really a notch here where the access would be. It's just kind of a slow slope in here to allow you access to the lock bar. So you don't really even notice it at all looking at the knife. It doesn't affect the ergonomics. Just a really cool way to do that. I don't think I've ever seen that on a knife before, or if I have, I'm not remembering right now. But just a subtle, kind of small, but really cool design. The Savivi Baby Banter. Let's talk about a titanium boy. This is the EMP EDC Nimble W. The W stands for Warncliffe, baby. This is a titanium Framelock. Awesome pocket clip. Just kind of a really unique design. If you're familiar with Nimbles, you look at this and you immediately know that it is a Nimble. Really nice frag pattern on the titanium on both sides. A ton of deployment methods. You have the reverse flick, which is really, really good. You have the regular flick, and you got a front flip. So tons of ways to open up this knife, just really fidgety. And ergonomically, it's fantastic. Choked up, really nice. You got jimping almost all the way on the spine there. and choked back even, really comfortable. And if you have larger hands than I do, you're still going to be fine because your pinky is going to be kind of on this area here, which is just totally comfortable still. Really comfortable design, nice aggressive Warncliffe, good action. Oh yeah, the EMP EDC Nimble W. Yeah, I forgot I was going to leave some out. I'll start leaving some out now. I'll close them. All right. How about the Benchmade Griptilian? This one I have replaced the stock Grivery scales with some aluminum ones from AWT, Applied Weapons Technology. I like this knife. This is a really good kind of hard use work knife. I have the sheep's foot version, which is the only version that comes with the hole in the blade for deployment. You can reverse flick this guy. You can thumb flick this guy. You can use the axis lock to swing it out. This is probably my favorite Benchmade. It's pretty thick behind the edge, but it still slices decently well. The sheep's foot blade shape is just versatile. I kind of wish these AWT scales were a little bit thinner. They're just a little bit kind of blocky, but I really love the look of them. Came with a backspacer that was done really well. Tons of jimping on here. In this little finger groove here, and on the spine, and on the scales, and on the liners. I have a deep carry MXG pocket clip on this guy. This is kind of my hard use work knife, the Benchmade Griptilian. Okay, let's see here. How about the Savivi Imperium? This is the Damascus version. Kind of a slim, almost like gentleman's carry sort of design here. Micarta handles. It comes with a deep carry pocket clip, but I have the titanium one on it. Their Damascus is really just looking nice. This is the raindrop Damascus. Very smooth action. Thumb studs, excellent. Reverse flicking, excellent. Front flipper, excellent. This is a fun knife to deploy. It's just very, very smooth. You can do the top flip, the side flips, all those little deals, and just kind of a sleek, classy looking knife, the Savivi Imperium. Okie dokie, what else we got? Let's do some more Savivis. How about the Savivi Conspirator? This is the one in the wooden scales. It also comes in micarta, deep carry pocket clip. Couple means of deployment. You got a flipper tab, you got a fuller for the reverse flick, super smooth button lock action. I mean, completely free swinging blade. I really like the blade shape on this guy, and the kind of neutral handle design, just really comfortable to hold. This is a great button lock work knife. Nice broad blade, thin at the edge but tough at the same time. My only complaint on this knife is with the plunge lock here, the detent is kind of weak. It feels a little bit sluggish on the deployment when you're using the flipper tab. A little bit better on the reverse flick, but still feels a little mushy to me. But it's a really great design, so I can kind of look past that. The Savivi Conspirator, probably my favorite button lock work knife. Let's talk about another Savivi button lock, and this is probably my favorite of all the Savivi button locks, the Savivi Altus. I really wish they would make some cool scales for this thing. I wish somebody would, because this is my favorite Savivi button lock, by far. It comes with a deep carry clip, but I put the black titanium one on it. It just looks really nice. Now, the detent on this thing, with the plunge lock, is actually really crisp. It's kind of hard to do that with the plunge lock because you don't have a detent ball. This is probably the crispiest button lock that I've ever felt. Just a pleasure to thumb flick this thing. And, since your thumb is already kind of in the vicinity of the button after you flick it, it's just, you can open and close this thing so fast. It's so fun, man. It's a medium-sized knife. You can get a full grip on it easily. Just kind of a clean, kind of sleek look. I don't like the bead blast on the blade too much, but I can look past it because I love everything else about this knife. Everything. Just the way it easily swings shut. Just the the kind of, like I said, sleek design. It's a really good knife. If you're gonna go with the CIVIVI button lock, I would recommend the Altus. Love this little guy. I'll put that one away. Okay, another CIVIVI. We're on a CIVIVI roll. The CIVIVI Elementum. This is not my favorite CIVIVI by far. I'm not a huge fan of the Elementum, but after owning one, I can absolutely see why it's so popular. It's just a really kind of classic, no frills, just good knife. The blade shape is just really versatile. Super good hollow grind on this guy. It's thin. This is a slicey blade. The micarta is not the best quality. I do like how the liners are shadowboxing the scale here. Kind of a good look. Just a really neutral handle. You got a choke up spot, deep carry clip. The detent on mine in particular is very nice and snappy. It's impossible to fail this thing. So I see why it's a great knife. It's just not really for me. The Savivi Elementum. Alright, the Penguin, or sorry, the QSP Penguin. One of my first knives, probably like one of my first 5 knives that I bought when I started really getting into knives and researching them. This is the OG denim micarta version. Thumb stud action. You get a sheep's foot blade. I kind of modified mine a little bit to be more of a Warncliffe kind of deal. But this is a great utility cutter. Really good utility cutter. Full grip on it, D2 steel. Nice polish on all the liners. It just looks really nice for how cheap it is. I mean, this thing is like, what, 30 bucks around there? Really good starter knife. This is one of the knives that got me into knives. The QSP Penguin. Another one of my first knives. I think this might have been the first knife that I bought when I started getting into knives. The Ontario Rat Model 2. I started doing a lot of research on knives once I realized that, once I realized the vastness of the knife world. I did a lot of research and I found that this was, considered to be one of the best budget knives ever made. So I bought one. And I love this thing still. I mean, it's a really good design. There are a lot of other options nowadays in this price range that are really good as well. But this is still just a really good choice. It's ergonomically really nice. You got a thumb ramp here. You got a choke up spot. It's a unique design. The blade is kind of set up from the handle a little bit. A little more belly than I would like for my EDC blade shapes. At least the ones that I prefer. But it's thin at the edge. You have a 90 degree on the spine, so you can use this with a ferro rod to create sparks for your fire making. Good detent on this guy. Just pops out with these thumb studs. This is a classic. The Ontario Rat Model 2. Alright, this is kind of a crazy Kaiser. This is an old model called the Rogue that they don't make anymore, and this is heavily modified by myself. It came with a lot of black coating on this titanium, but I sanded it all back. I flame anodized it, and then I sanded it back again, so the anodization is only in these milled out slots here. I think it looks really cool. I put some gold thumb studs on them, anodized the pocket clip as well. This is a cool knife. I don't know why they stopped making it. It's a Dirk Pinkerton design. Really, really comfortable. It's thick blade stock, but I mean, this is a very aggressive flat grind, and it gets really thin down here. This is probably my best, one of my best utility style cutters. So this is kind of my beater utility knife. I'm cutting out leather or anything like that. Like I said, not sure why they stopped making it, but this is a cool knife. The Kaiser Rogue. Alright, what do we got? Another one of my first knives. This is my first Savivi, the Savivi Praxis. This is still a super duper good work knife. It's a big boy, but ergonomically, man, it just melts in your hand. You have a choke up spot, really broad blade with the thin edge. This is just a classic Savivi, really classic Savivi. There's actually a mini version now too as well, which I haven't checked out yet, but I probably will. Deep carry pocket clip, G10. Just a really good work knife on a budget. Savivi Praxis. Okie dokie. Let's talk about the Orion Solaris. This is kind of a funky button lock. Really interesting design, but everything about this knife is done on purpose. It was made and designed by a guy that's really into knives. I'm totally blanking on his name right now. I'm sorry, man. But it was designed by a knife nerd, and you can tell because he thought of everything on this guy. Like I said, kind of a funky design, but man, as soon as you get it in your grip, you'll see why everything is contoured and shaped this way, because choked up, unbelievably comfortable. Super duper locked in feeling. Nice broad blade with a, kind of a low tip. And the stonewashing on this blade is some of my favorite I've ever seen. It just looks really nice. The button lock action is fantastic. The flipper tab deployment, fantastic. Thumb stud deployment, fantastic. It's a unique feeling knife to operate. I think it has to do with how far away the thumb stud is from the pivot. It just feels different than a lot of other knives to thumb flick and to regular flip. It's a cool knife, man. It's unlike any other knife. The Orion Solaris. This is $85. It comes with a titanium pocket clip. He also sells different scales on the website. Go check him out at Orion Knives. That's the Solaris. I'll put this right here. Alrighty, what do we got? Is that it on the case? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Let's talk about this guy. This is the 80-20.5 in titanium and 3V. Probably my favorite knife design of all time. I absolutely love this knife. It has everything I want in a knife. It has it. It has it. Demco, he just, Andrew Demco, he makes very good knives. He designed and patented this shark lock, which is an amazing locking mechanism. Ambidextrous, very fun to use, super duper tough, very, very strong locking mechanism. It sounds great, it looks cool, it's fun to operate. Man, I love this knife. It's ergonomic. You have a really good choke up spot. The sheep's foot, or shark's foot is what he calls it. Blade shape is perfect. My absolute favorite stonewashing I've ever seen on a knife. Really just unique looking stonewash on that thing. Obviously all titanium. There's no liners, no milling on the inside, just really straightforward. Really easy knife to take apart too. So many deployment methods. You got the slot. You got the thumb studs. You can just swing it out like this. You can even do it like this if you want. Flick it out that way. Just such a fun knife and just such a good tough knife. I have a deep carry Lynch pocket clip on here. And yeah, if I could keep one knife in my collection, it would be really tough. But I would most likely choose this one. I love this knife. And then you have its more budget-friendly version, the 80-20.5 in D2, or you can get it in AUS 10 as well. This one came with Grivery plastic handle scales. I've upgraded mine to aluminum, but you can get this knife for $150 right about. Maybe it might be a little cheaper now even, but you get the exact same shark lock. This one comes in the shark's foot version as well, and this one, the shark's foot version, comes in the drop point as well. You can get any blade shape with either of them. I mean, $150 might seem like a lot for D2 or AUS 10, but man, you're paying for this shark lock. You're paying for this badass design. Totally worth it in my opinion. You get the same beautiful stonewashing on this version as you do on the titanium one. Fantastic knife. This was my first 20.5, and it's what made me fall in love with them. And I'm really happy to have the titanium one in the collection as well now. Oh boy, this is really long. Another Rough Rider, the Rough Rider APTA. This is the one in copper. It comes in a couple different options. Really good action on such a cheap slip joint. This is, I believe it was like, I don't know, 25 to $30. Really, really good deal. Kind of a weirdly shaped sheep's foot blade. Man, this thing is just, it's poppy. It's snappy, it's crisp, it looks good. I think this is a really good looking knife. A little bit heavy because of the copper, but you can get the different versions that are, I think, micarta or even titanium. I think it comes in titanium as well. The Rough Rider APTA. Let's do another slip joint, the Benchmade Proper. Now, people don't like this knife. A lot of people don't like this knife because of the weak backspring. And I will admit, it is kind of annoying. I wish it was nice and snappy like the previous knife. But if you can overlook that, which I can to some degree, I think this is a really good knife design. Really good micarta on the handles. Very useful sheep's foot blade. I like the contrast of the stonewashing and the belt satin on there. I like the swedge that runs down. You get a sharpening choil. This is super duper lightweight knife. S30V blade steel. This is what I throw in my pocket when I want something really lightweight. I think it's a great knife design. I really do. I wish the backspring was a little bit, stronger, crisper, poppier. But it's not, so, it is what it is. I like to keep it in this little slip, stick it in my fifth pocket. This is a really nice little light carry. Alright, let's talk about one of my babies, my first Spyderco ever, the PM2. One of my first knives ever. Well, one of my first more expensive knives that I ever bought was this knife. S45 VN blade steel, and let me tell you, this is incredible blade steel. Spyderco did just an incredible job with the heat treat on this stuff. It might be the best edge retention that I have in the whole collection. It's just amazing how well this thing holds an edge. This is still the factory edge. I've only ever stropped it. I'm really good about the upkeep on it with the stropping, but I've never had to put a sharpening stone to this thing. It's crazy. I've had it for years. I've modded it out just to be the perfect PM2 in my opinion. The classic flat titanium scales from Flytanium, brass lanyard hole plug, MXG deep carry pocket clip, and the OCD for EDC compression lock made easy. Little tab here that makes the compression lock really easy to use. I can use it with the side of my finger right here, and you can too. It just makes operating this knife's unbelievably easy. Gosh, it's just such a good work knife, man. I carry this knife to work probably more than any other knife. It's just a fantastic knife, and it just looks sexy, doesn't it? Look at this thing. Oh yeah. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Alright, we're getting down to the last couple here. Let's check out the Finch Holiday. This was a gift from my buddy Diener, and I absolutely love it. I will never sell this knife. If you've never experienced Finch knives, you should try to do that. The inlay work is just fantastic. No seams to be found whatsoever, at least to the touch or to the eye. The Finch shield here is inset there perfectly. You have an inlay on the other side too, so it kind of covers up that frame lock to create sort of a faux bolster lock. It has a milled titanium pocket clip, and the action on this guy is unbelievable. It's just so crisp. It's glassy smooth. Glassy. There is no resistance in that pivot, seemingly. There is some, but it's just glassy. You don't feel any grittiness in there at all. Really nice hand-rubbed satin on the blade, 154 cm blade steel. Really nice thin Wharncliffe blade. This thing is absolute class, man. If I'm ever dressing up for an occasion, this is almost always the knife I stick in my pocket. The Finch Holiday. Okay, the last two. Oh no, never mind. I have a couple more. The Rough Rider Hawkbill. This is my dedicated package opener knife. This thing just absolutely rips into things. Really cool knife. Very cheap knife. Around 20 bucks, I believe. Maybe it's slightly more. It's just it's a package destroyer. It's big kind of footprint. I don't carry this in my pocket. I keep it right on my desk here for opening packages. But it's an extremely good package opener. Then we have another Rough Rider. This is one of their frame locks. I just kind of wanted to check out and see how they did their frame locks. Really cheap knife, and you can tell, the quality is not the best. But for the money, I think this is a pretty good option. It's really cheap. It's like around 25 bucks, I think. Kind of spear point, drop point-ish blade, hollow ground. You have a aluminum scale here. The reverse flicking action is actually pretty darn good. Again, the quality is not the best, but if you're looking for a super beater knife to gift to somebody maybe, this is a pretty good option. I forget what it's called. Just type in Rough Rider Framelock. You'll see it. Okie dokie. The Kuby Koas. C-O-E-S, I believe. This is a cool knife. JG10, so you got a blank canvas here if you want to dye it, but it comes in a bunch of different colors. This knife's around 45 bucks. Deep carry pocket clip, D2 steel. The reverse flicking action on this guy is excellent. Really, really excellent. Just very snappy. You can also thumb flick it. There's like a little kind of flat section here on the hole there for you to get your thumb on. This is a really fun knife to reverse flick, man. I'm telling you. 45 bucks. I think this is a great knife. D2 blade steel. I enlarged my sharpening choil a bit so I could choke up. Kind of reminds me of a Spyderco sort of blade shape, kind of leaf-shaped blade. Very thin at the edge. Great blade shape. Comfortable. The Kuby Koas. The Concept Mini Occipital. This is a titanium frame lock front flipper with a very nicely done micarta inlay. S35VN blade steel. You get a crown spine. Little titanium pocket clip, obviously. Really nice access to the frame lock here. Really comfortable to disengage it. Front flipper works great. You could do all the little tricks, the over the tops, the sides, the whatevers. This is kind of a cool little mini front flipper. I really like this guy. Yeah, just straightforward titanium front flipper. Pretty sweet. Alright, now we're down to the last two. The Chavez Scapegoat. Man, this is a beefy, just tank of a knife, man. This is my first Chavez that I've ever bought. And it's one of their designs that kind of spoke to me the most. Kind of a drop point, almost clip point-ish blade with a super deep finger choil here and sharpening choil. Man, I've never felt a finger choil this deep. It feels kind of cool to be like that sunken into it and have the edge that far, that close to your knuckle there. It's a really cool feeling. Really neutral handle, very, very comfortable. The action on this thing, holy crap, look at this. Oh, isn't that crazy? Just such good action. A really good detent, fat thumb studs. This thing is just thwacks out, man. Such a cool knife. M390 blade steel. I love the contrast between the satin on the flat and the belt sander finish on the bevel. It just looks so good, man. I love this knife. When they drop, they usually sell out very quickly. I was lucky enough to find this very lightly used on the secondary market. If you can get your hands on a Scapegoat, or any Chavez really, I would do it. Very pleasantly surprised with the quality of this knife. Made by Riot, the Chavez Scapegoat. Do I have any room left? Put it right here. Alright, and lastly, my most expensive knife, the Sharp by Design Apex. This is a beautiful, beautiful knife. I absolutely love it. Full titanium construction with a blue anodized aluminum inlay here. You got the kind of a hole in the middle of the inlay. Just perfect seam back here where the two scales meet. I love this area back here. It looks so nice. The way that the surface of the scale kind of swells up to meet the pivot there. I love that. Kind of cool looking pivot, whatever you want to call that. Man, you could just find details in this thing all day. You have that same kind of swelling thing on this hardware for the steel insert there. Gosh, I love how this insert kind of covers up the lock bar, but not all of it. I think that looks really cool right in there. The pocket clip is not the most comfortable ergonomically, but it certainly does look good. And man, the detent on this thing is fantastic. If you don't know Brian Nadeau, who designs these knives, he came up with a new way to do the detent. So it's not your typical detent ball and hole mechanism. It's there's something else going on in there. It's like a little ridge on the top of the steel lock bar insert. The result is an extremely crisp breakaway. You probably can't tell on video, but man, it feels so good to reverse flick this thing. It's crazy. It's unbelievably smooth. Just such a quality knife, man. The grinds here on this Tonto blade are so nice. They're perfect. I really like the nice wide long hole. You can stick your finger in there anywhere to get the reverse flick. You don't have to think about it. You stick it in there, flick it, you're good to go. Love this knife. I really hope to get more Sharp by Design knives in my collection at some point. I would love a Mini Tempest. There are a couple other ones I would really like as well. Man, such a cool knife. The Sharp by Design Apex. So, that's it. Where are we at? 36 minutes. Oh my gosh. Oh man, the next one might have to be a two-parter. Seriously. Yeah, I think the next time I do a full collection video, it might have to be a two-parter. Well, if you watched all of it, thanks for sticking around, folks. I'm trying to get my watch hours up so that I can monetize the channel. So that means I can't start making any money from the channel until I have a certain amount of watch hours. So maybe this video will help if you guys watch all of it. There you go. Hope you enjoyed. This is my entire knife collection. It's always growing and changing, but I will keep you guys updated on it as my addiction progresses. So yeah, that'll do it. I love you folks. Make sure you watch the 1,000 subscriber giveaway entry video that I just posted. Make sure you enter the giveaway. Blah, 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 blah. Can't talk anymore. Make sure you enter the giveaway. I'm going to be drawing it next Saturday, so make sure you're entered. And that'll do it. Thanks for watching, folks. Adios.